Ever since the Jacksonville Jaguars took the NFL by storm in the 2017 season, finishing with a record of 10-6, having the birth name of Saxonville, and also making an AFC Championship game appearance. But since the 2018 NFL season, the Jacksonville Jaguars have been one of the most abysmal franchises in the NFL, with a combined 15 wins in the last 4 seasons, and they've had the #1 overall pick for 2 consecutive years now, back-to-back. No team in NFL history has ever had the #1 overall pick for 3 consecutive years. Now, if you've been sleeping on the Jacksonville Jaguars, if you've summarily dismissed them as one of those franchises that'll never be competent and can never, attain any level of greatness, I don't blame you. But let me talk about right now and today why not only you and the rest of the NFL community is sleeping on the Jacksonville Jaguars, how this team can actually make a playoff berth and possibly win their division this upcoming season. Now, I'm going to break this video down into 3 parts, but before I get into that, let me preface my comments by saying, when I made a video about a month ago called "Are the Jaguars Playoff Bound?" I will link to it up above so you can see. I did say at the end of the video, I do not have the Jaguars making the playoffs, and I do have them finishing with a record of 8-9. I still stand to that. To this day, I still have the Jaguars finishing 8-9 and just missing out on the playoffs. But that does not mean that this team is not capable of getting there, and let me tell you exactly why this team is being slept on. Now, the first reason the Jacksonville Jaguars are being slept on is because this is a very winnable and attainable division in order to secure a playoff berth, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are capable of doing that for this season. Let's take a look at the AFC South. It is the second worst division in football. No matter how you want to slice it, it's a bottom 2 division next to the NFC East. But let's also look at the AFC South in its totality. The Tennessee Titans, while they did make the playoffs last year and they were the only team in the division to make the playoffs last year, the Titans lost a lot of key pieces as well too. I think Caleb Farley's a nice guy. He's still got a lot to prove to me though. Obviously, Justin Simmons is a beast. Derrick Henry returns back off of injury. But there's a lot of questions at the quarterback position with Ryan Tannehill. I don't believe Malik Willis gets a lot of playing time this season if he gets any. But there's questions there with Ryan Tannehill, who is consistently folded time and time again under pressure. You lose guys like Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, and you replace them with Robert Woods and Treylon Burks. I don't expect these guys to step up and be a #1 automatically. You look at the Indianapolis Colts. While they had 7 Pro Bowlers last season, the Jacksonville Jaguars knocked this team out of the playoffs. They bring in Matt Ryan to be that extra piece. They had a very solid draft. I was actually very fond of their draft in general. I thought they did a great job there. But the Indianapolis Colts still have a lot to prove, and so does Frank Reich in general. Then you look at the Houston Texans. I want to say prayers up to John Mechie, though. I want to give him just a moment of my time to tell him that everyone in the NFL community is thinking about you. But with the Houston Texans, they are clearly the worst team in the AFC South. And while they did sweep the Jaguars last season, I don't think that's saying much at all. The Jaguars can not only just compete in this division because it's one of the worst divisions in football, they can absolutely compete for a wild card spot as well, too. Now, the second reason the NFL is sleeping on the Jacksonville Jaguars is because there's been an immense amount of changes to this roster, not only in the coaching staff, but also with the players that are now in the building as well, too. They brought in a lot of veterans with key guys like Brandon Scherff, Christian Kirk, Darius Williams, Foyesade Oluokun, and the list goes on. A lot of top-tier free agents that the Jaguars spent, and they spent the most money in an NFL free agency period in NFL history this past offseason. A lot of changes to the defensive side of the ball, a lot of changes to the offensive side of the ball. You obviously look at the coaching staff. What Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning head coach, comes in here and does, the players think and speak very highly of him. He also holds a level of characteristic and a standard that is applicable to everyone that comes into that building, whether you're a player or a part of that coaching staff. I think he did a great job with hires with guys like Press Taylor coming in now as the offensive coordinator. You look at Mike Caldwell now as the defensive coordinator. Then you also look at the young talent that the Jaguars have in this roster. The Jaguars are getting an explosive running back and a utilized guy who could be a Swiss Army knife, and a guy like Travis Etienne. And the Jaguars also have 2 first-round picks with guys like Devin Lloyd and Trayvon Walker, both of these guys who are very capable of playing at an elite level. Maybe not day one, but both of these guys are absolutely capable and have a very high ceiling. And I've had Devin Lloyd winning Defensive Rookie of the Year as well too. The Jaguars have an immense amount of changes that they've made to this team, a brand new scheme, brand new culture. The locker room is going to be significantly better, but the most important thing is they have a quarterback and they have a head coach, and the quarterback and head coach clearly get along together. They see eye to eye with a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who I call Mr. Sunshine. Trevor Lawrence, 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions last season, a 59% completion percentage. Did not have the best of rookie seasons. I've talked about Trevor Lawrence on a multitude of occasions. If you want to see more of Trevor Lawrence, I will link to that video up above. But Trevor Lawrence if he is what he's supposed to be and what Jaguar fans in the NFL community thinks he can be, he can prove to be a franchise quarterback and a quarterback generational for the future of this team moving forward. Trevor Lawrence is bound to make a huge leap in 2022 with a coach who is very quarterback friendly, who's played the position in the past. He's won a Super Bowl as a player. He's won a Super Bowl as a coach. And Doug Peterson is a proven guy who's really going to help alleviate a lot of pressure off of a guy like Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars did a great job building players and coaches around Trevor Lawrence this offseason. And then the last reason the NFL is sleeping on the Jacksonville Jaguars is simply off the history of what the NFL tells us. The NFL tells us every single year that 6 new teams make the playoffs. When the NFL expanded, I believe it was last season, to the NFL playoffs, and they made it to where 7 teams make the playoffs, the number 1 seed gets a bye, and then seeds 2 through 7 go and compete in the first round of the playoffs. That opens up an opportunity for another team to go and make the playoffs. It brings the ratings up. And you look at it, the Jaguars can be one of those 6 teams. Let's just say I take 3 from the AFC and 3 from the NFC. If you look at 3 teams in the AFC, you're obviously going to talk about teams like the Baltimore Ravens, who were 8-3 prior to Lamar Jackson's injury. You look at the Miami Dolphins, who made a lot of changes this offseason with Mike McDaniels coming in as head coach and obviously acquiring a big-time talent with Tyreek Hill and a lot of other great changes that they've made. You look at the Indianapolis Colts, who got knocked out because of the Jaguars. Those are 3 teams right there that you can already talk about being teams that are going to make the playoffs in the AFC that didn't make it this past season. But nothing is guaranteed in the NFL. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are very capable of going and being a competitive team every Sunday, week in and week out. Because I believe in this roster. I believe in this coaching staff, most importantly. And that's exactly why the NFL, the history of the NFL, and we know the fact that not every Sunday is a given. We saw that with the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Buffalo Bills last season. We saw that with the Jaguars beating the Indianapolis Colts in Week 18 last year to knock them out of the playoffs. It is an any given Sunday type of league. And you look at the biggest and most recent Cinderella story. Who the hell had the Cincinnati Bengals going to the Super Bowl last year? Not a single soul. Not a single soul had the Cincinnati Bengals heading into the season making the Super Bowl. Most people did not pick the Bengals to even make the playoffs, and they went to the Super Bowl, and they were a drive away before Aaron Donald and P. Ryan didn't dive for the ball to possibly winning the Super Bowl. The Jacksonville Jaguars are being slept on. This is the most slept on team in the NFL, and I'm telling you right now, the Jaguars are very capable of winning this division and making the NFL playoffs this upcoming season. Do you believe that the Jaguars are being slept on? Because I promise you right now, if the Jaguars make the playoffs this upcoming season with a wild card berth or a division title win, everyone is going to come back to this video and say, this guy was right. We were sleeping on him and nobody said that the Jaguars were going to be anything this season. And Brett James, BJ, he was spitting. So I need to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Jaguar fans, let me hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And before I end today's video, I do want to say that I will be having an oral surgery tomorrow. So I'm not sure when you guys will be getting this video. It's 8 days away from the first Hall of Fame game, the Jaguars versus the Raiders. So hopefully I get to do a preview video about that. But I'm saying this because I probably won't be able to make a video for at least a week. My mouth's going to be in a lot of pain and I'm going to be recovering through some surgery. So, you know, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that as well too. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys drop me a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it helps me on the channel out tremendously. And if you guys are new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more NBA and of course Jaguars content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure y'all go follow me on my socials, especially on Twitter. The link tree will be in the description down below. I'm very active and I'm on there every single day. But thank y'all for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ. I'm out, y'all. Go Jags, baby. Peace.